Alrighty, everybody, welcome to our daily agenda for Wednesday, May 5th. Oh, excuse me there. Alright, so for today we are continuing on with our poetry terms. Reminder, ladies and gentlemen, today is evens and modified as well. So, yesterday we went over verse. Remember, it is a single line of poetry. So in this poem, and this is top line, I have eaten plums. We went over stanzas. It is a group of lines or verses in a poem. So for example, in these four mini paragraphs, this one paragraph right here, this would be a stanza. So in poetry, we call them stanzas. When we're writing, we call them paragraphs. Simple. A metaphor, it's a direct comparison of two unlike things. It's not literally true, but it helps explain an idea or just make it a comparison. So you can say, he is a shining star, her hair was a golden river. Those would be metaphors. An extended metaphor, that's something that's going over multiple lines. Now in your poetry, if the entire poem is about how the night is a big black cat, that's an extended metaphor. But if just one line says he is a shining star, that's not an extended metaphor. That's just a regular metaphor. Allusion, not to be confused with illusion, like a magic trick. No, allusion. It's just a reference to a person, place, or thing that are here in our real world. So some of you are confused with illusion and metaphor. Metaphor is just something that exists. So it's a star, it's a river, versus allusion. You're actually referencing something that's here. So the Grinch. The Grinch is not a river, it's not a star. It's something we know because we've all watched the movies. Pinocchio, same thing. The hallways at Mendes, New York City, that's a person, place, or thing that's culturally important to us, okay? So allusion is different from metaphor because metaphor will talk about stars or an animal or stars, anything that's not alive really. Versus allusion will talk about something like the Grinch, like Pinocchio, like New York City. Personification, that's giving human characteristics to something that's not human at all. So, for example, the sunlight dance. Our sun does not actually dance. The streets are not actually calling you. There's no mouth on the streets. But we know from these sentences that the streets are calling me. That just means that you want to go out. Alliteration, it's the repetition of the same letter or sound at the beginning of So, for example, she sells seashells by the seashore. You hear that s after each one. Okay. Tone. We're going to be starting off with tone for a lot of you today. Tone, that's just how the speaker, that's their attitude about what they're writing about. So you're going to have to infer this from context clues, from the words around it. Some words for tone, they can be scary, can be happy, can be angry, can be sad. So in our examples, it was a dark and stormy night. What is the tone? What does the speaker want us to take about this night? Maybe that is not the best night because he's already using words like dark and stormy. In our second example, barren branches pierce the sky, chattering in the shivering breeze. Some of you might not know what barren means. Barren is when those trees have no leaves. So these empty branches of the trees, they're piercing the sky. They're cutting the sky. They're chattering. They're shaking. They're going in the shivering breeze. So the trees are shaking. They're chattering. And the breeze is shivering too. So it's cold. It's not good. The tone that the author or the speaker wants us to know is that it's not a good night. Alright, the rhythm. Alright, so rhythm, different forms of poetry have different rhythm patterns. And we were going to find some rhythm in when we analyze poetry. So some of the words are stressed or they're just emphasized more. Sometimes it can make a poem sound like a heartbeat. So in this example, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, this poem has a lot of rhythm. You guys might not see it when you read it. Whose woods are these? I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. When you read it like that, you don't hear any rhythm. So you have to think about when you read it. It's like a heartbeat. Whose woods these are? I think, I know. His house is in the village, though. Now, if you put your hand to your chest, like where your heartbeat would be, you can kind of feel the heartbeat sound. So, whose woods these are, I think, I know. Ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. That one hurt a little, sorry. But if you hear it, you can hear that rhythm. And it kind of adds to the music, the suspense as well. So this rhythm. All right, next one, rhyme scheme. Rhyme scheme, that's the ordered pattern of rhymes at the end of the lines or poems or verse. So we'll talk a little bit more about this one, but essentially, you guys have noticed that poems rhyme sometimes at the end. So the coolness of the night refreshes my skin. The stars shine so bright. So night and bright, right? Causing me to grin, which rhymes with skin. This is a rhyme scheme. So what you can do is, because these two words rhyme, night and bright, we're going to label them with a letter A. So that our audience, people around us, know, hey, these two words rhyme. Are we going to label skin and grin the same way? No, because they don't rhyme with night and bright. So what's the next letter in the alphabet, ladies and gentlemen? That is going to be a B. So then you just know, then you add a B. If you give me two other words that rhyme, we would start them with the letter C. So I just want you guys to see that the way they rhyme too, ladies and gentlemen, matters in a poem. You guys have seen it. There's a name for it. It's called rhyme scheme. Okay. Hyperbole. These are statements that are exaggerated. They're not meant to be taken literally. So I have two examples. I have one that's a little poem. It's called Tantrum Felt Around the World. When little Janie's mother told her no more ice cream, Janie's face turned red and her ears began to steam. Her body trembled harder than a huge earthquake. So I'm sure most of you have siblings. I know I have a few only children in my classroom, but most of you can understand that when you're having a tantrum, the world doesn't feel it. You don't have a huge earthquake. Your ears do not steam. So this is just an exaggerated statement. Others include, it's raining cats and dogs, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse, I walked 1,000 miles today. Those are other exaggerated statements. And then simile, that's comparing two things using like or as. So something is like or as something else. So he was as quiet as a mouse. So here it would be this as. She swam like a fish, right here. Miss Arroyo is as wise as an owl. Wise an owl. Whoops. See? Even I had to put it back in. See? So these are just some examples, some similes that we will be looking at in our poetry as well. And then, how does your experience with poetry impact how you feel about poetry? I kind of want to hear a little bit now that you've had some time to kind of work on this as well. And then I do want to show you, ladies and gentlemen, as well, what our notebooks look like. I did change them up just a little bit, just so that you guys would be able to, a little bit easier for you guys. I noticed the last notebook wasn't as easy, so you guys are going to have an even easier time now. All you have to do is type the definition of each word. So for example, verse, you just put in the definition. You're going to type it right here on the right, and then you're going to put an image that reminds you of the term. So something that reminds you of the word verse, something that reminds you of simile, something that reminds you of hyperbole. So you guys don't have to do those 4 charts. It's just 2 little things for each word that you have to do. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you will have time to work on it today in class as well. If you have any questions, please let me know, let Ms. Arroyo know, let Ms. Reyes know. We'll help you guys out. Other than that, I will see you guys in class.